All right. Well, I'm very excited to welcome you both to Founders Corner, where we're learning about the origin stories of founders and startup CPG and a little bit about your brands. So we're going to ask you a few questions to learn a little bit more about how you can start your own CPG brand. And this week, we are joined by David and Danny from Kekoa, and I'm super excited to learn a little bit more. So I would just love to hear a little bit about your product and mission to kick things off.
Sure. Yeah, I guess I can take that. So the genesis of the company is actually based around our son. He was actually born 8 weeks early to a gestational carrier in Honolulu, Hawaii. And when he was born, for his fighting spirit, a cultural practitioner gave him the name Kekoa, which is Hawaiian for brave warrior. And so we thought that that was amazing. You know, he was supposed to be in the NICU for about 6 to 8 weeks, but then he actually got out in around 3 weeks. So by the time we got him home and we were getting ready to make, or that he was getting ready for solid foods, I ended up making all of his own food because at the time, everything on the market was, I thought, was either bland or very sugar heavy and sweet. So I wanted to make sure he had really nutritious food, especially because he was born so early. I wanted to make sure that he had that extra advantage of all the nutrients that came along with, you know, vegetables. So made his own food. We posted on social media just to be like, hey, look at what we're doing. And a lot of friends and family were like, wow, he's eating better than I eat. You know, I would eat that if you sold it. And we're like, oh, that's an interesting idea. So, you know, born out of the care that we have for our son and concern, we actually then built and created Kekoa Foods, and launched in January with the first three products, which is the apple and ginger, the beets, fennel, and kale, and the curry vegetable mango, which are all based on the recipes that we fed our son.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our friends and family were so excited by the herbs and spices we were putting in the food because when some of them who had children that were a little older, they're like, oh, I was told not to put all these things in the food, like, you know, avoid basil, avoid garlic. And the reality is that, you know, food can be flavorful, and this is a great way to get your kids excited about eating their veggies.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And I love how you got your name. I know that's typically our next question, but you kind of snuck that in there. And I love the name as well. I think it's really beautiful. So you started to kind of get to this, but I'm curious if you could dig a little bit more deeply into how you got those first 1,000 customers, how you got those early fans of the brand.
Yeah, so I'll take this one, David. He works. We were both working day jobs at not in CPG, and you know, David was really excited about this idea of starting a food company, and I'm like, we have no background in this though, so let's like make sure we're going in and doing something smart. So we did a Kickstarter, and our goal was $25,000 in pre-revenue. It was a lot of work, but it was really exciting and fun, and it was great working with David. You know, I think we both have tasks around the house that we like to do, each of us, and those that we don't like. And so with the business, I think we found a really good fit of like what I do well and like to do and what David really likes. Mm-hmm. So once we completed the Kickstarter, we're like, we have to do this. We have to go all in. So I resigned my full-time position. I'm all in with Kekoa Foods right now. And David does it when he's able.
Still have my day job.
Yeah, so as he mentioned, we launched in January. So we're selling on Amazon. So that's been a great way to just be able to sell to anyone, anywhere in the US. And since then, we've launched our Shopify store. So we can fill direct to consumer ourselves. And we started getting into some independent stores. So made some traction there. And we're also talking to some larger retailers about doing some regional stores and getting into particular areas that way.
Yeah, that's great. And this is a little off script, but I'm curious, like, how did you get the word out about your Kickstarter, and did anything surprise you about the people who started to support you early on?
Well, we got the word out just by, you know, word of mouth, email, social media, support of family and friends. Yeah. And also, and I think just leaning into family and friends and saying, hey, obviously we can't do this alone. Would you also support us, send it out on your feeds and, write something up? And I think because of that, we were able to gather a lot of, the net was farther cast to, for one, just awareness of the brand, but two, support that went beyond just our immediate circle of family and friends.
Yeah, and some people had mentioned that they wanted to support us, but they're like, I'm not going to buy this food because my kids are older. So a friend connected us to the New York YMCA. They have a housing facility where, at any given time, there's up to 200 residents that are living there with up to 80 infants. So we were able to have some of our customers purchase the food, about $10,000 worth, which we were able to deliver to the Y in March and do a nice event around the importance of reading your nutrition panels on labeling on products, and to meet the residents that were benefiting from the food. So it was a really wonderful day and experience, and we're working to continue that relationship to make sure that our product, even though it's a premium product, that everyone has access, because that's really important to us in our mission.
Yeah, and we still, with that continuation of the Y, we do have the option for people to go on our website and actually purchase a subscription donation. So as we collect enough money for our particular production run, then we'll allocate that amount of money to then donate over to the YMCA and product, and then continue to do food panels and education around nutrition and ways that they can have nutritional food regardless of economic status, because we think it's important that everyone has nutritional food and the ability to purchase that and also cook with it and also know how, because a lot of times people will be like, well, I can't do nutritional food because it's so expensive. I can't go to Whole Foods. I can't afford that. But you can go to your local independent grocery store, and there are a lot of options that are available to, and we just want to be able to provide that information and knowledge so that they can, in turn, make sure that their family is eating a very nutritional meal.
Yeah, I love that answer. I mean, first of all, it's so interesting and scrappy how you managed to find the why and really find an audience there, and how that kind of translated to a further mission is really inspiring. So that's awesome. And the subscription service is really cool. And that I haven't seen many D2C brands do something like that. So that's just like an incredible extension of your mission. Yeah. And I also was thinking too, how like demoing is something that people tend to do to get into their first few grocers. Of course, your target audience is either, well, moms, but also the people trying it are kids. So demoing is something, again, like you have to get a little scrappy with. And I think the fact that you tied that educational component to it is a really good workaround and a great way for you to get those initial fans. So that's awesome. So how did you get into those first initial grocers from there? I know you said there were some independent grocers.
We're calling it our door-to-door campaign, where
again, we love it.
I literally walked into grocery stores in our local area and said, hey, we're a new brand. We have here's our information, and one came back to us at a later time. Another one right on the spot was like, great, all right, I can put you on the shelf tomorrow. Let's give it a try. And so, doing a trial run and seeing how it goes. And so it really is just going into these independent stores, talking to the owners, talking to the managers, and, offering a nice partnership so that, we can continue it as we move forward. But yeah, it's really just, the tried and true door-to-door campaign of making things work.
That's great. Building relationships is really key to those first few independent grocers. So awesome that you're getting on your feet and getting out there. So what has been the hardest part so far of running this brand?
I think the hardest part is that this is totally new for us. So it was finding the right people at the right time, who we could pick their brain, get advice, get strategies, guidance, and then get connected to more resources. So like, we met a founder, she told us all about Startup CPG. we were able to get a micro grant from you guys to help feed the folks at the Monterey Food Bank. So that was just a great connection, and the different resources that Startup CPG has are really helpful, and I recommend it to any founder I talk to. And then just, I think the challenge is you know, sometimes hearing from people who are very confident and tell you all these suggestions, and some of them might work for you and some of them might not. So it's learning how to try stuff and then keep pivoting, you know. So when you run into a pitfall, or if something was supposed to be, you know, a guarantee, how do you kind of like keep monitoring it and checking it, and then trying something else? So, you know, the Shopify, that's been a great way for us to diversify our D2C. So it's really just keep trying, and benefit from the learning that you're getting, even if you're not always getting a success every time.
Yeah, I think also we tried to launch in 2020 and we all know what happened in 2020. So the fact that we had everything set up, we were primarily going to have everything set up on the East Coast. It all fell apart, you know, I think similarly to a lot of people during that time, things just didn't work out as what they had originally planned. So we regrouped and completely built everything up from the ground and moved all of our operation, or our production, to the West Coast. Found new partners that have been really fantastic to work with. And, you know, I would, even within, you know, a year later, we went into production, we launched our product, and in the middle of a pandemic, which nothing has been easy in the middle of a pandemic, but the fact that we were able to forge through all of these hurdles and be able to launch and then, you know, keep on going has been a big learning curve, but also something that's been beneficial because, you know, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep on going. This is going to be a success one way or another.
Yeah, you had some great advice tossed in there too. And I guess going off of where you just ended your thought, David, how are you going to win?
The easiest answer is never stopping, and always coming up with different ideas that will either entice someone to partner with you or to take on your brand to put on their shelf. There's always creative ways to, like, you know, one thing I've always told people is there's never a no, it's always finding out the creative yes.
Yeah, just to add to that, I would just say that, you know, celebrate your wins, because, you know, it's a long journey, and not every day is there something that, you know, worked out the way you wanted it to. But when you do have those moments where something clicked, you got an opportunity, or, you know, that funding that you went after, you know, really celebrate it and acknowledge the effort that went into it, because then that really makes you feel motivated to continue and to persevere, so that you will win.
I love that. That was great advice. Is there anything I have not touched upon that you wanted to share?
No, just you know, we're available on Amazon, we're available on Shopify, and hopefully soon some more brick and mortar stores.
Exciting. Where are you based? I didn't even ask that.
Oh, so we're in West Orange, New Jersey.
Okay, awesome. I'm in New York. Not
far. Okay.
Yeah, here, I'm gonna cut the recording. But you guys did a great job, girls.